I am.
Oh, so you had to come in a way, you were given opportunities to do these other things, and you had to come back around to like, you know what? I just want to act. And, that's what
I think I have very strong feelings about the way that actors are sort of kept out of a lot of the conversation about what we do.
Uh-huh.
We're talked about an awfully lot. We're talked to very little.
Is that true? Like in what way?
Very true.
Like, how do you mean? Like, because my understanding before I started doing more acting of a director was that, a director's going to tell you what to do. But a lot of times directors hire you because they believe that you know what to do. So so what in that context, in a broader context, what do you mean that actors are left out of the conversation?
Well, I mean, there simply is a phase of making a television show or a film that we call pre-production.
Okay.
In which daily meetings are taken, investigation throughout the area you'll be working in to find the locations,
yes,
conversations about those locations,
right,
which will eventually be my character's home.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Do not include me.
Right.
And that kind of can then also continue to the sense of, well, on this, I had been asked several times, what did I think the character would wear? What did I think the character? Well, I think she might wear this and that, and talk to the costume designer and tried on a bunch of clothing that turned out neither the showrunner nor the network were interested in seeing me in. And they had another idea of how the character would look. And then I said, well, you tell me, because I'm happy to do as I'm told. That's actually the job of the actor. It's very difficult in today's world where half of the time or more than you're being told what to do by somebody who does not know what they're talking about. That's when it gets hard.
do you generally know that right away, or does it take a minute?
Sometimes it's a slow burn to that. You're hopeful, always hopeful.
That's a great, that horrible realization where you're weeks into it and you're like, oh my God. They don't know what they're
should not be listening to a word they're saying. And then there's little tricks you can do, which is something one should not talk about in interviews, where you can sort of go, oh, yes, of course, and do what you know is right.
Right. That you agree to, do the one thing that they want and then do it your way. But
the truth of that is even worse, because the truth of that is that, as an actor, just like seamen on a ship, right?
Yeah.
The captain says, all hands on deck. All hands show up on deck.
Right.
That's just what we do.
Yeah.
So when the director says, do it more brightly, you can't unhear that.
Yes.
So even though it needs to be darker, you find yourself doing it more brightly.
Right. And then you have to watch that and go like, fuck. What?
And that's why we watch our work.
But also the other sacrifice you have to make when you have the sort of like, sure, I'll do it that way, and you do it your way, is that when your way works better, they're going to take responsibility for it.
Oh, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
I don't need any of that. I don't need people to know my name or know my work or know it was my idea. That is of no importance to me. Does it work? That's all I want to know.
And you know that.
I just it's in my own nature to not take the ownership.
Right.
And in fact, you want a director who very much wants to take the ownership. It's a joy of working with John Swab. John Swab has no fear of being the leader of all of us.
Right. And that makes it makes you feel like you can, even take more risks, I would imagine.
100%.
That, you trust the guy, and he's got a vision. So if you're part of someone's vision and they know what it is, it's sort of like, okay, great. And now I have space to work in. So did you train at all? Did you go to acting school at all?
I did. I did several different bouts of my training. Of course, there was the very early days with Peter Schumann, who would have even known I was training. And then I went to this small theater school in London, where I don't know that I learned that much. I think that I learned things about the discipline of theater and and things like that. It was a really good time. I spent there having a year going to Mount Theater School. And then I came back to the United States, and I wasted some time, oddly enough, out in Oklahoma, and nothing
Doing
to do with
what?
swab. Working in a gas station, working in a bakery, trying to make a living.
Why Oklahoma?
I had a notion that I could, in the middle of the country there, make a bankroll, like maybe $1,000 or something, like a lot like that. And then from the center of the country, I could work my way west to act, or I could head back east.
Come on, Oklahoma! You decided. You decided
there was a fella. There was a fella.
There
involved.
you go. There you go.
I was a little young for it, but there was a fella involved, and
no one goes to Oklahoma just because.
Yeah, no.
All right. And that turned into what?
And that turned into just nothing and all sorts of nonsense. And my father worrying about me perhaps more than he ever had in his life to that point. And he applied to college for me.
Now, where's your dad? I mean, I know he split and there was a problem with the apartment.
Yeah,
but...
and he lives out on the east end of Long Island, and there's a relationship there. I won't say that it's as close as a father and daughter could hope to be. It's probably my bad, but I have a hard time with that disappearing when I most needed him.
Yes.
But there's a relationship there, and I'm glad my son developed a relationship with his grandfather. That feels very, very important to me.
How old is your son?
He's a good man. My son is 33.
Wow. He's a grown man.
He's a grown man, yes. He is making his own way in the world.
Is he outside of show business?
He is, no. It's a much more stable industry he's in.
Oh, yeah?
He's a fine artist.
Oh. What's his medium?
He primarily paints, but he trained for some time at Cal Arts. He's also gone to a very known art school in Germany, and he's living now in Berlin and making his first steps as an actual artist.
That's great.
Quite remarkable, amazing. And I'm not the only one who thinks what he does is not only very good, but quite interesting.
His name?
Which is important in art. His name is John Matthew Mortimer Heschel Hurd. We call him Jack.
Jack Hurd? Is he? Oh, so his dad was John Hurd, right?
Correct.
Yes. I'm sorry for that guy's loss. What a great actor.
Yes. Very sad loss. I have a psychic that tells me he's right here.
Oh, he's right there? It's so funny because I just watched Cutter's Way recently.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's some good acting.
Right? Everybody was so damn good. He was great.
So damn good.
I love him in that. And he sort of aged beautifully as an actor, really. Were you guys together when he passed away?
No, we had not been together for a long time. By the time my son was 9 months old, we had separated. He was well known for being pretty hard on women, and myself included, and a wonderful dad. I have no complaints of John as a father. He was a hard partner to have.
Oh yeah, you've had quite a life there, Melissa.
Oh, there's been one or two ups and downs and round the blocks and one thing and another.
So
feel very lucky and blessed in the long run.
So what happened? So you did the London thing, and then where do you train?
Oh, so then some training there in London, and then I went to SUNY Purchase for sort of 2.5 years, and I really was not going to graduate within the 4-year program. I excelled in theater, voice.
They had a good program.
They had a very good, very interesting program. My acting teacher, Joan Potter, is no longer with us. She's much beloved by me and many of the students after being in her class. She was a little difficult to be in the class with.
But like some actors that we know were in that class. Didn't Chris Cooper go there? I think?
I'm not sure about Chris Cooper. Stan Tucci was in the year ahead of me. Edie Falco came in behind me.
So you didn't finish it out, though?
No, I didn't, because there was a very small handful of academic classes that the theater arts majors were expected to pass, including theater history. But let's go back in the conversation a little bit. I didn't really go to school.
Right.
So I never really learned any of those things and we had a wonderful theater history teacher, Norris Houghton. He had designed the theater program there largely. And at the beginning of the semester with him, he had us all buy a wonderful book called The Concise History of the Theater. And every time he gave a lecture once a week, there'd be page numbers on the blackboard. I did not know I was supposed to have read those pages.
Yeah. You didn't understand how a classroom worked. Period.
I had no idea how a classroom works. And the then dean of the theater arts program, the wonderful Joe Stockdale, saw in me something that made sense to him, that I was not good at that side of things, but that my talent was elsewhere. And that brings us back to this woman I'm playing now, where there's an uneven, she's twice exceptional. Once in that she's got some failing socially on the character's part. Academically, I would say for Melissa, I needed some kind of special help to get the basics.
Yeah.
And you don't get the basics, you can't ever really go forward. And I never really got the basics. I've learned how to reading scripts.
Yeah.
I've learned everything I actually know through my work, not through being in school. So there's a lot of things in the world that still are surprising and interesting to me that people learned about in 7th and 8th grade.
Right. Like, like math.
Math is a quandary to me. I have a fear of numbers. I just don't understand, but I can use my fingers. They work good.
So your whole semblance of life and understanding of life, I imagine some of the things that you missed learning, you've learned through characters. Like if you
absolutely,
because you do like a million movies. I mean, I brought that up before. I mean, like in 2008, you were in 9 movies that was released.
I wonder what they were.
Yeah, that's all right. But like in the same 2009, 7 movies. So it seems to me that once you started going, like if it took. If it was 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you could line up maybe 3 or 4, 5 movies a year.
Yeah, I haven't had the kind of career where I see the work well ahead of me, right?
Yes.
It comes, I do it. And in the last 8, 9 years, 10 years, there have been things that have sort of come in on top of each other.
Right.
And because I don't know any better, I say to my representatives, well, it'll work.
Right.
We'll do both of them.
Right.
And they work very, very hard with scheduling and negotiations and things. And I still remain, it's a rare necessity that I refuse work. There is a role I consistently refuse. And that is this person I've alluded to in the conversation, the woman who is not really explained. Most recently, there was a film that came to me. I didn't even open and read it. All I read was the byline. And I know I'm not interested. It's about a young woman. She's got some issues. Apparently her biggest issue is her mother and the stepfather in the house. But we're not telling their story, which might be very interesting, why somebody ends up being such a louse as a parent.
Right.
But I don't know that story. I went through very hard parenthood, but both me and my son's father were the best parents we knew how to be to our son. So to be a shitty parent, I can't relate to that because I played Alice Ward. That's what people see.
Yeah, but Alice Ward was
far from a shitty parent.
Right.
And that's why I got an Academy Award for it, because I refused to simply play the shitty mom.
Right. Right. And you're saying that if you're not given a script that, at least involves some reason why this behavior is what it is, why
but even that, and sometimes the filmmaker will sort of try and write a great big long speech.
Yeah, but right. Well, but the character study is not in the script.
No. Exactly.
Right.
And that is a part that very consistently I have refused. I don't think we need to see too many more wham, 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 my parents were mean to me coming of age films. I really think that we've really exhausted that genre in my life.